Using Apple Home to manage your smart home comes with lots of cool features, like tapping your Apple Watch to your door lock to get in your home, or face recognition in HomeKit Secure Video based on faces in your iCloud photo library. But if you're watching this channel, I probably don't have to convince you to use Apple Home. But if you've wanted an always-on smart display for seeing iCloud photos and quick access to your Apple Home controls on your wall or your kitchen island, you've been out of luck, aside from maybe strapping an iPad to your wall, which I don't recommend. But it sounds like that's all about to change, because rumors are suggesting Apple is going to release a new smart display sometime in 2025. And of course, this category of product isn't anything new. Other companies have been doing it for a while. So if you're using Apple Home, is this kind of smart always-on display worth getting excited about, or is it a bunch of hype that doesn't really apply to you? If you're new here, I'm Eric Welander. I've been an app developer on Apple platforms since 2011 and building out my smart home here on YouTube since 2018. So if you're into Apple or smart home tech, consider subscribing. Now, in order to prepare for this video, I've actually been playing with the new Amazon Echo Show 22-inch, and I have a bunch of thoughts on that and what Apple might do. But first, speaking of that HomeKit integration I mentioned earlier, thanks to Avia and their Smart Deadbolt Plus for sponsoring today's video. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you're probably familiar with Apple HomeKit. This means anyone added to your Apple Home can simply tap their iPhone or Apple Watch to the door to unlock it. It's pretty magical. But the Avia Smart Deadbolt Plus puts this feature in a whole new form. The Smart Deadbolt Plus supports all the convenience of Apple HomeKit in a traditional deadbolt casing, with easy access for a traditional key. You can also use the included NFC key fob to tap to unlock. Assigning PIN codes can be great for guest access, and this lock has a keypad built into the top of the lock with buttons that are easy to see and press. The keypad even lights up in the dark, and it's actually the smallest keypad lock ever made. No more dealing with giant boxes on your door. You can manage PIN codes for access in the Avia app or right inside Apple's Home app. The lock talks to your Apple Home over Thread, which makes it fast and reliable. And if you have an Apple Home Hub, which you probably do, then you can unlock or lock your door from anywhere in the world. The Smart Deadbolt Plus can also automatically lock itself when the door is closed, so you never have to worry if the door is locked. Did I mention it has an 18-month battery life? To learn more about getting an Avia Smart Deadbolt Plus of your own, check out the link at the top of the description. Thanks again to Avia for supporting my channel by sponsoring this video. So after playing with the Amazon Echo Show 22-inch, and I've used a Google Nest Hub in the past, both devices arguably have smarter voice assistants than Apple does. But at the same time, their UI just isn't nearly as well designed and laid out as I think Apple could do here. There have been some rumors from Mark Gurman suggesting that Apple's looking at ideas of making the UI get more and more detailed as you walk toward the display. This is something we haven't really seen that much with smart displays, but is pretty common in smart thermostats these days. And I think it would be really nice because you could quickly see status of something further away in bigger text and then move closer to see more details. The closest thing Apple has done to a smart display up until now is standby mode. And this is where you take your iPhone and mount it on a MagSafe charger horizontally, and then you'll have the option of widgets or a photo frame with a clock or just a simple clock as a quick thing to look at while your iPhone is charging on that MagSafe stand. And with standby mode, we've gotten a glimpse of what Apple could do with a smart display. They have great UI for things like timers and notifications, and I think if you're just trying to use this smart display yourself, then standby mode might be all you need. But if you're looking to extend the use of this to more of your family or guests in your home, then having a dedicated display is better because it'll have shared access. And that's something I find very helpful about some of these other smart displays from other smart home companies. Of course, any guest could talk to one of your HomePods to ask for something to be turned on. But that guest might not know what the scene is called or what the lights are called, and so being able to see the names on the screen of what they're actually controlling, they could probably figure out, oh, that's the living room lights over there. So I'm gonna press this and it will do what I want. Another benefit is gonna be the photos integration. It's really great to have an always-on smart picture frame rotating through your photos, but if you use one of these other smart displays from another company, then you're gonna have to use their apps to upload your iCloud photos over to that service. And it would be nice with Apple's display, if you already use iCloud Photo Library, then the pictures you took last weekend just start showing up on the display. And in my experience, Apple's shown they're pretty good at picking out photos that make sense for things like your iPhone lock screen or standby mode or your Apple Watch, other places where they show photos. And I'm sure that would apply here to a smart display as well. This also applies to any other information you have in the Apple ecosystem, like if you use iCloud calendars. Now, if you put your calendars elsewhere, let's say on Google Calendar, then you have a lot of options to show them on any of these smart displays, but I'm sure Apple would have some nice integrations with the way you have the calendars set up in the rest of your Apple life and being able to apply that somehow to the smart display, at least for certain calendars you want to share with everyone. And calendars and scheduling and planning amongst your family is actually a thing that dedicated smart displays like Hearth already focus on. And it could be something super useful to have this status right there in a central place in your home. There are a lot of great indoor HomeKit secure video cameras, but I could also see Apple leaning into the camera side of this and maybe adding something where you could drop in. Amazon has this with their Echo Show line, but I never really use it. With Apple, of course, they have the Apple Home camera integration, which you might use if you share your Apple Home with other people, but then also they have FaceTime, and I could see this being a valuable place to be able to FaceTime with people, especially because it could be a lot like calling an old school telephone where the display rings and whoever's around can pick it up. Whereas right now, FaceTime is much more of an appointment where each person has to get out their own devices and have them all set to go. This could make the idea of casually calling anybody who happens to be at the home at that moment much more possible. Now, one of the things I really noticed with Amazon's Echo Show 22-inch is just how great it is to have a really big smart display. I'd used smaller smart displays in the past and they're nice, but having a big screen is great. And the rumors are suggesting that Apple's initial display will be around 6 inches square, which is plenty big enough to see some stuff kind of like standby mode on your phone. But Amazon's 22-inch Echo Show is practically a television. They even ship it with a remote. But getting between different streaming apps on the device with their Fire TV interface is not great. I think this is something where Apple could, if this initial smart display is a success, move into making smaller TVs. Now, not TVs in the traditional sense that you buy at the store that are often very big, but I'm thinking something that's bigger than a traditional smart display, smaller than what most people would consider a traditional TV size these days. So let's say something around 20 to 30 inches, but it's more targeted to be a always-on smart home display that can also play movies and make your photos look really good. I think this is a really compelling category that's just starting to emerge with some of these early, larger smart displays. And I find having this screen in my kitchen, I love having it to watch content, and I'm sure Apple could make that whole process much easier and maybe even combine some of the things they're doing with tvOS into that new kind of display. We've even seen some maybe early signs of that kind of thinking with Apple's tvOS improvements in tvOS 18, where they have your photos combined with a clock in a way that kind of feels like it's meant to be always on. So let me know down in the comments how much you think Apple will actually charge for a smart display, at least their initial one. My guess is something around $300 to $400. But regardless, it's going to be expensive, and don't dismiss it right away. Even if the initial version of this product isn't something that really fits in your home, maybe you'd rather have a more entertainment-oriented device, or you don't really have much of a need for that kind of shared communal access to your smart home, then just wait, and hopefully if this initial version is a success for Apple, we'll see more devices in this category that will probably fit your needs better. But I think for all of us, it showed that Apple really is dedicated to Apple Home, which means it's worth us putting in the time to keep building into Apple Home, because then we're going to end up with a lot better setup and system over time with both our work and Apple's work coming together. Now, my YouTube channel here, I talk a lot more about near-term things like, is this product right for you? Or is Apple's new smart display something you should focus on? But if you're trying to build out your smart home and thinking long-term, you really want to also have a 10,000-foot perspective of what trends are coming and changing, and what are the stories behind those, and how are they building into something that really could impact your smart home over time. And those kinds of ideas are things I explore over on my Substack newsletter, which you can check out at applehomeweekly.com. This is a paid newsletter that's also delivered to your favorite podcast app of choice as a podcast where I read you the newsletter, and I'm working on adding some more features to this membership soon. And thanks again to Avia and their Smart Deadbolt Plus for sponsoring this video. You can find more info about that at the top of the description. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. Thanks again so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.